Oh, hello, and welcome to Adente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight, for anime, Old Lady Kamitani. So, Old Lady Kamitani is a Japanese creepypasta that was translated on Kowabana.net. Unfortunately, because of the nature of this sort of thing, I'm not able to find, as was many of the other Japanese creepypastas. I don't know who actually posted the creepypasta on like 2chan or one of the Japanese forums that Kowabana acquired, because they don't seem to have a accredited user or poster.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't do that.
Yeah, it's something. Well, maybe it's just a thing where like maybe they're a lot more anonymous out there in Japan than yeah. Hence why like they always go by like Akun, and like they try to use like aliases a lot more.
Yeah, especially in this one.
Yeah, I know.
There's no aliases in this one.
Well, or is
there is some anti-aliasing in this one?
I guess so. Yeah.
Do you get it?
Not really.
It's a term for like graphic settings on a on like a game or just anything on a computer. Anti-aliasing is like how crisp the edges are, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did it funny.
The more you know.
No one laughed.
Because nobody
I laughed. So that's all that matters.
Yes.
I think I'm hilarious.
That's what's important.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we're doing Old Lady Kamitani. I just thought I'd bring up the fact that like none of like for some reason like looking at it like there's not a lot of like crediting to an author or poster for, on these Kowabana.net stories. Because like I noticed the trends like we're not able to we're not able to credit these people, but like if you're out there and somehow you see this and you understand English, please let us know if this is your story. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, so Old Lady Kamitani, you can check it out on Kowabana.net. And before we dive too deep into our into the rundown and all that kind of stuff, we'll do initial recommendations. I'm going to partially recommend this on the low end.
Yeah, I'm going to not recommend this.
Okay.
I'm going to fully recommend this. What is happening?
Are you serious?
What is happening, guys?
Are you seriously going to fully recommend this?
Why are you questioning my recommendation? How dare you?
All right. No,
Am I allowed to like something?
I'm just shocked. Well, maybe your thoughts will change my opinion, like what happened last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mikey, you missed it completely. Like he, I managed to change his opinion on a story by digging really deep into a 2-page creepypasta.
Yeah. I think you had more notes than there was words in the story.
I think I had double the notes or double the page count of that story.
Sounds right.
Yeah. But okay. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out. So let's.
Yeah.
Let's
as soon as you said partial, I'm like, oh god, Mikey's gonna say he hates it. Oh, he did. What story did I read? Did I read the wrong one?
Now you understand how I feel every time you guys like say you hate something when I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
as I'm violently pacing around the room.
Oh no! And then sitting in the corners like everybody hits me. It's like in anime format. Like you're in the corner, like everything is tinted blue above you, and like there's like wavy dark lines.
Yes, of course. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, on to the rundown then. So, Old Lady Kamitani is the story about the mother of a friend of Kimura, our narrator, who is named Kamitani, and about a darkened, troubled boy and his family with the name Akiyama. Old Lady Kamitani would tell great ghost stories, but more than that, she was great counsel to the kids of the neighborhood and never had anything bad to say about anyone, except Akiyama, who she told her son and Kimura to avoid because he was no good. Now, the guy was a bastard, hurting animals for fun and such. Though eventually he stopped going to school, and his Karen of a mom visited a few times at the school, accusing people of bullying her son, despite no one actually doing so. Eventually, both Akiyama and his mother were institutionalized due to some kind of mental instability. One night after that, Kimura was at Kamitani's house, and he asked Kamitani's mom why she said to avoid Akiyama, and she revealed that the boy known as Akiyama was now consumed by had been consumed by a malevolent force or curse that was brought on by his grandfather's ill doings or indirect actions in the past. She seemed to have like a whole sixth sense about the whole thing, and that shook Kimura and Kamitani to their core. And so they decided not to tell anybody about Kamitani's mother's insights or abilities, at least until Kimura was like in his 40s and old lady Kamitani has passed away. So now he's telling the story to us.
Because she won't beat his ass now.
Yeah, or like there's nobody nobody around to for their reputation to be harmed, I guess, or like to like have to worry about like reputation and stuff. Apparently the grandfather
of the dead still matters, you know.
Well, yeah, and especially
like there's that old term of like don't speak ill of the dead.
Yeah, and I mean even more so. Actually, that kind of has some like relevance to this story.
You know what? I hate this story now.
Goddamn. But
I keyed.
Yeah. But yeah. Also worth noting. Apparently, the grandfather of Akiyama ended up paralyzed after Akiyama and his mom were institutionalized, and sat paralyzed and in constant pain for 20 years before finally passing away themselves, which was preceded by his wife, who died like sometime before that. So Kimura never found out the fate of Akiyama or his mom, but like, he's not even sure if they are still in like some hospital somewhere or if they've passed away since then. The story ends with Kimura stating that while this could have all been explained as coincidence and mental health issues, he makes it a habit of respecting and thanking his ancestors for they have given him this happier life by being better people. Finn. So I suppose we'll move on to everyone tolerates the Grand Inquisitions. At this point, I've got a couple actually. Gonna start with this one here. There was no bullying, but because he was always alone in class, things became a mess. His mother even came to my house. It seemed like she also knew about mine. I think it's supposed to be, it seemed like she also knew about me.
That almost makes it sound like he's saying that he did bully Akiyama.
Yeah, well, I kind of interpreted like that she just like knew about him like for some reason, but like maybe maybe it is maybe Kimura is actually a bullier.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, because the next line is your son has been bullying mine, hasn't he? When she's
but
into his mother. So yeah.
But
that should be changed to like it seemed like she thought I was bullying him.
Yeah, like that maybe that's the case. Because like I don't think reading it, I don't think anybody actually bullied Akiyama. I think it was just like the guy's just a douchebag. Yeah. And his mom's being a Karen.
Yeah, I'd say even that last bit can just be removed. Just say his mother even came to my house and then go on to the dialogue. Because the dialogue says what's being said. Like you don't need to say it twice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or
because there's no point saying his mother came to my house and accused me of bullying him, and then the next line is, "Your son has been bullying mine, hasn't he?" Like, it's saying the same thing.
You know what? Actually, I think would be his mother also started going to classmates' houses,
Yeah.
and she even went to mine.
Yes.
I think that is kind of what it's trying to say.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because like she was harassing the school, and then she starts harassing the students around her, like that go to the same class.
Mhm. Yep.
So, and then the next one I have here. In all honesty, the whole time I've been curious about him. So it's in all honesty, not there. Just that L in honestly needs to be removed.
Yes.
The next one I have here. That boy's grandfather has killed many people over the years. No directly, of course, but thanks. No directly, of course, but thanks to him, many people have died. I feel like it should be not directly.
I went back and
Mhm.
forth on that one because I'm
Yeah?
like, it kind of works, but if I was going to correct it, I would say none directly.
Yeah, none directly would also. I'd also accept none directly. No directly just sounds a little caveman speechy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like when I initially read it. So,
Mhm.
and the next one I have here. I later heard that in the past, Akiyama's grandmother was a bigwig moneylender and rather crooked to boot. Shouldn't this be grandfather? Since he was the one who indirectly hurt and killed people? Or is this just more backstory character
Yeah,
info?
both of them are dirty.
Yeah, but then it's just like I guess, but like I feel like there should be like an extra bit to the sentence where like that connects why the grandfather had indirectly hurt people and stuff like that. If the grandmother is the one that's the bigwig moneylender and crooked to boot, like I don't know, like, it just seemed like it came out of the blue that the grandma, like that we just suddenly getting information about Akiyama's now deceased grandmother.
Yeah, like if there's no reference to what the grandfather did,
Yeah,
it's kind of weird if he's the focal point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that is a typo.
yeah, and that it is kind of something I also want to bring up. Is like I kind of wish this may be a more of an actual thought, but I'm adding it here because it's part of the same quote. I kind of wish we had we knew exactly what Elder Akiyama had done, like the grandfather. Like, was he in a crime organization? Did he like,
You
or
just read what it was.
yeah, but like, well, like you're under the pretense that it should stay the grandmother, but otherwise it's a typo that should be a grandfather, right?
Based on what you said,
Yeah,
and how there's no mention direct. If that's the only mention of crime from the grandparents,
yeah,
then it does not say what the grandfather did at all. Meanwhile, he's the main antagonist in this, technically.
yeah, because
So
it's because of his sins that the curse has been passed down to his legacy.
yeah, so it's probably a typo. Is what
Okay,
I'm saying.
I
But if both are crooked, then that's fine. But we also need the explanation of what the grandfather did.
yeah. And that is my grammar inquisition. So, Mikey, D stands for evil.
All right. I have a conjunction junction.
Ooh.
And next stop, Conjunction Junction. Doot doot.
But our homeroom teacher was quite hot-blooded and refused to back down from her. But anyway, Akiyama was scary. But no one showed any sign of worry. Rather, the atmosphere was like no one wanted him to come back. It felt like a story we should keep to ourselves, lest people start to treat Kamitani's mother strangely. So Kamitani and I promised to never mention it again. But I'm nearing 40 myself now, and Kamitani's mother has passed away, so that's why I'm writing it all down here. But despite that, his pain was never ending. But having said that, to this day, I make sure to visit my ancestors' graves and hold memorial services for them. Finn.
Okay. So Mr. Akiyami, or Mr. Akiyama was the teacher who was hot-blooded, and the woman that he was like after was, or who was going after, was old lady Kamitani, and that's why he was scary. The teacher was scary, and then apparently old lady Kamitani did some kind of thing, like maybe summoned some ancestors to, or like summoned his ancestors who were like angry or whatever, and that's why like he was like driven to pain and such like that, and that's why. And then now that she's passed, like Kimura and Kamitani have vowed not to tell anybody about his mom's dirty secret until like she passed, of course. And now that's why he goes and visits his ancestors to kind of appease them. It's like, yeah, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing what happens when you use when you take things out of context and combine them.
Which is what Mikey does when he grabs these sentences throughout the story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ands, or buts, because there's always better words to use.
Indeed. And I suppose that moves on to Gamer in Yellow.
It does. Oops, I'm in my notes. Those are the grammar ones. This first one might immediately put me in the nitpick nook, but here we are. When I was a junior in high school, there was this famous woman called Old Lady Kamitani. She was the mother of one of my classmates. Everyone at school, even around the neighborhood, knew of her. So to that, I'm like, is famous the right word? Would popular be better? Because famous sounds like it's a bigger scale than what's described here.
Yeah.
Well, locally famous.
Yeah, like locally famous. Yeah, but like I think I'd rather have popular.
Because when I immediately heard famous woman, I imagined that like
celebrity.
She's on TV. Yeah, like celebrity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my problem. Like celebrity and famous are different.
Yeah, like unfortunately, especially nowadays, like celebrity and famous gotta go hand in hand. Like,
yeah. This next one has a little bit of notes in it, but that's fine. She looked like a regular woman, but she was a really good listener and great at telling stories.
What does that have to do?
Yeah, I mean, when you straight up say she looked, okay, first off, when you straight up say that she looks like a regular woman, it makes me immediately think that she isn't human. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and like
secondly,
yeah.
And like considering her look is described as quote unquote regular, that whole point doesn't even have to be said. Because if the look is described, you go with an average look. And then in regards to the way that sentence is structured, it kind of sounds like you're saying that regular looking women aren't good listeners and aren't good storytellers.
I mean, am
that
I right,
butt
fellas?
Is kind of wow.
I keyed.
But yeah, that butt is kind of a little sus there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely feels like it's like she looked like a regular woman, and so you expect the next thing, but she was she held a darker side or something like that. Like you kind of envision that, not like, but she was also she was a really good listener and a great telling stories. It's like those things don't match.
No, they don't.
They don't really go well. I mean, they do go well together, but the butt there doesn't need to be there.
It should just be and.
Yeah, it's like she looked like she looked like a regular woman.
Yeah,
and was a really great listener and great at telling stories to boot. Like something like that. Like,
exactly.
Like it feels like it's like less complimentary in the way it is written.
Yeah, it is very strange.
I actually have something about this entire paragraph. Like I was gonna quote this entire paragraph in my actual thought.
About the whole like butt situation.
Yeah, well, that and like okay, so like you ended with telling stories. Even the local delinquents didn't want to upset her. They were like, "Nah, man, we don't want to piss her off." So like And at the beginning of the story, it's like when I was in junior high school, there was this famous woman called Old Lady Kamitani. She was the mother. It goes on. When I started this story, like with the title and such, I was expecting her to be revealed as this like sinister entity.
Yes.
And then we got a pleasant, trustworthy, wholesome mother figure for the entire fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, when's the bill gonna drop? Like when's the
disclaimer gonna drop? Yeah.
Exactly. And I think actually what it's trying to say here, or is what it's hinting at here for like later, is that she looks like a regular woman, but she's actually psychic, or she has the sixth sense. Like she has that power from early, because like later on it's revealed that like she does seem to have some kind of an innate ability to sense the unnatural or something otherworldly.
You know, it should be worded differently. Like the whole, but she looked like a regular woman.
Yeah.
Like, because as soon as you say that, you know something's gonna happen one way or another.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just like she's just a mom like everyone else. Like, don't specifically focus in on her looks. You know, she's just a regular mom, but she was really good at telling stories and all that. But she was an even better listener than everyone else's parents and stuff like that. Like,
because it does even go in later that like she was the person you talked to about things that you didn't want to talk to your parents or teachers about.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's just the way it's presented. It's just like it was. She looked like a regular woman, but on the inside, she was pure evil.
Yep, but we never got that.
Nope.
Okay, so I shall continue. The first thing that comes to mind when you mention Old Lady Kamitani is ghost stories. She told amazing ones. They were just like any other ghost stories, but she told them so well. They were so scary that the girls would scream and carry on like children. This story is about her. I mean, yeah, I read the title. It kind of seems unnecessary to say that the story is
no, like,
and even, but by the end, it's not even about her.
I know. Well, it is, and it is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, because I think I have later on my notes about that, but
yeah.
I kind of do like that line. It's like she told like really great ghost stories. Like they were super scary and they scared everybody. This story is about her. It's like, oh shit, she's dead, isn't she? And I mean, she is.
Yeah,
but
true.
She has nothing to do with the story. And she does have she does seem to have a supernatural ability, so like a spooky ability.
Yeah.
But it's so deceiving.
You're so right when it says like this story's about her. When the last time this was referenced was a ghost story, which makes it sound like this is a ghost story about Old Lady Kamitani. Like she's a ghost now, and she has influenced us.
Yeah.
In some way.
But it's so it's definitely it's way different than what you're expecting from that line.
I mean, that being said, I only clued into that angle of it now because I didn't really. What do I even take it as? Like basically
face value?
Yeah, basically just like this is a story about her, but not a ghost story about her. Yeah. I didn't connect ghost to it. Moving on. The teachers got wind of this, of course, but his mother was one of those so-called monster parents. Personally, I don't think the first comma is needed there, because it's the teachers got wind of this, comma, of course, comma, but the mother was one of the so-called monster parents. I feel like it flows better if it's just the teachers got wind of this, of course, but his mother was one of those so-called monster parents.
100% agree.
Well, it doesn't even need the encore, of course.
It doesn't, but it also
got wind of this, but his mother was one of those so-called monsters. So
I'd keep it.
I don't mind it because it makes it kind of like it's obvious that people would notice this. Like it's basically saying that they're not living in Devlin. Like they get it. Like
it's like it's like no, they're actually like they're not like the people the blissfully ignorant teachers in like horrible like sappy high school movies. Like they're aware of the situation and they're trying to deal with it, but then they got this bitch of a mother that keeps coming in and like blaming everybody else but the son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then we get to this point.
Uh-oh.
I had a lot of confusion in this section.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me. I'm assuming it's just me because no one else brought this up. So maybe I'm just dumb, but either way, this is in regards to the grocery store situation.
Yeah.
I'll just read the whole thing. One day I was going to Kamitani's house to hang out when I ran into him and his mother heading out to the shops. The supermarket was nearby, but they were buying a lot of rice and other heavy things, so he was going along with her. I offered my help, and the three of us went together. While we were shopping, I saw Akiyama standing a short distance away, all by himself. The supermarket was quite far from his house. He looked kind of suspicious for someone who was supposedly just shopping. I elbowed Kamitani, and he soon noticed him as well. What the hell is he doing? I don't know. While we were whispering, Kamitani's mother stuck her face in between us. Is that the Akiyama boy you spoke of? She whispered. So, it took me until this point to realize that the Kamitani being mentioned is a male student friend of Nair's.
Yeah.
Because he was never mentioned until now.
He was.
When?
But it was because Kamitani is the family name.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it didn't really specify.
I think.
Well, it says like second sentence. She was the mother of one of my classmates.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, but the classmate never got a name until now.
I do understand your confusion because when I read Old Lady Kamitani, I thought like Kamitani was her name, and then I realized no, that's like technically it's the family name. I think it's either the family name or I think it's the family name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use family names in Japan unless you know someone well, then they use their given name basically.
Yeah.
But technically it should be the boy's given name because they're friends.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I was confused in multiple ways here because that I eventually figured out like, okay, when it says Kamitani, it means the kid and not Old Lady Kamitani. Like when Old Lady is there, it's the old lady. When it's not there, it's not. Okay, fine. But like when I first read this, because I didn't know this whole scene acted out completely differently.
Because he's elbowing the mom.
Yeah, at first I read it like Nair was going to Old Lady Kamitani's house to hang out with her because she's so cool. Everyone wants to hang out with her. It already said that earlier. Like everyone likes going to hang out with Old Lady Kamitani.
Kamitani's mom has got it going on.
Yeah, hell yeah. But on the way, he ran into Akiyama and Akiyama's mother going to the store.
Oh no!
And considering the last couple of paragraphs have been exclusively talking about Akiyama and all, that's why I connected with that. And then Nair offered to help out Akiyama and Akiyama's mother while they were shopping. But while they were shopping, Akiyama was like standing off by himself while they were doing the shopping because he was being weird. And then all of a sudden, Nair spots Old Lady Kamitani nearby or something, and then elbows her to ask what Akiyama's doing. And then, like, I assumed that maybe the elbowing him section was a typo or a mistranslation there, because, like, it's Kamitani, so it has to be that. But then Kamitani's mother leaned in between Nair and Old Lady Kamitani. I'm like, wait.
No.
Is there an old Lady Kamitani here?
Grandmother Kamitani.
Then at that point, I'm like, oh, Kamitani is the boy. It's a son.
Also,
so,
I think
I'm done.
no, it's fine. Like it is confusing. You'll notice how I was like you'll notice in my rundown I was trying to like differentiate the people because like they're using their last names. Now, I think they're using their last names in this again as a way of like making this kind of like anonymous because like yes, there's like it's your family name. The family name, like it's in Japan, like that there could be a lot of Kamitanis, there could be a lot of Akiyamas, Kimuras, stuff like that.
But you could also just pick a different first name than the actual.
Yeah, you could go with like Akun again, or
or that, or just pick a completely different first name, so it's someone else.
Fair.
If this is stuff that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the TLDL on that. Too long, didn't listen. Kamitani's son needs a first name, and the people that Nair runs into needs to be clarified because in the previous paragraph, it was talking on and on about Akiyama, and then all of a sudden I ran into them at the house. Is what is said. So that's where I got confused.
That's fair. Like I don't think you're dumb for not like, or for having a hard time like differentiating them, because like it is kind of confusing when they're only using like the family name.
It's partially because I'm not like, it's a regional dialect situation. I'm sure, like in regards to the last name, like that's more common and everyone understands it over there. Where I'm not from over there.
We're dumb Westerners.
Yeah. So
yeah,
got to get around to understanding how it's all laid out.
Hmm.
And my next one's a lot quicker because you already talked about it. Because it's no directly, none directly. We already did that, so I'm done.
Okay. Then I guess we'll move on to actual thoughts. Starting with the image.
Yeah.
The top.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool image. And it's like a silhouette of a boy. And behind him is a curtained off window to the outside, and there's like ghostly figures like kind of trying to get in and stuff. It's creepy. You're like, it is referential to something later in the story, but off the hop, you're not sure what it means.
Yes.
Until you read the story.
Well, you can't tell if it's behind him or in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. Because he could be looking out the window, or he could be like looking at the photographer. So, I think it's a little bit more teasery than I think even some of the other images we've had from these stories, but otherwise it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it.
And then the next thing I have after that, I already technically covered my issue with the first paragraph of just like reading the title Old Lady Kamitani and thinking that she was going to be like some kind of like dark entity, like the center of the story, but she really isn't. She's actually a really nice lady.
Mm-hmm.
But my next thing after that, at first everyone flocked to him and helped him out with whatever he needed. But after a while, they started avoiding him. He threw a rock at a dog, even if he injured it. There's nothing we can do. He kicked a cat as hard as he could. It was twitching and couldn't move, so he stomped on it. Okay. Akiyama is now officially on my shit list.
Yeah.
Curse or no curse? Like, yep, that's definitely some warning signs of a psychopath. Hurting and like injuring animals in
a dog and probably killing the cat from the sounds of it.
Definitely killing that cat.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely like, those are definitely some warning signs when like a person is like, when a kid is like killing and hurting animals like that.
It's one thing if they're killing like bugs and shit, but when you're killing someone's pet, like what the fuck?
That, or even like, again, like there's like the site, or like, well, even that, but like, I mean, that actually is a red flag that like you may want to get a child like checked, is when they're like taking like small animals and like killing or torturing them.
Yeah.
Like that's straight up a red flag, like an obvious red flag that there might be something wrong with that child.
Mm-hmm.
Next up though, my mother was also
actually before you continue, one tiny thing about that. One part about that though, it does do a good job at making us hate the kid immediately.
Oh yeah. Like, he is now on my shit list.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That being said, us hating him doesn't really add or take anything away from the story, you know? Because our hatred towards the kid doesn't really matter.
No, it just kind of gives us more of like examples as to like how brutal he was. Like, yeah. My mother was also born here, so she knew quite a bit about Akiyama's mother. I heard some rumors from her as well, but our homeroom teacher was quite hot-blooded and refused to back down from her. All life is important. You must be affectionate to the weak. Education isn't just study. He was a force to be reckoned with. Even the delinquent kids who usually hassled the homeroom teachers, respected him. And so, like, I read at this point in the story, I was like read a couple of other like bits about like different characters and so that. It's like, God damn, Kamitani, Akiyama, his mother, the homeroom teacher. Don't get me wrong, I love these details and character descriptors, but this is a lot of character buildup for what is effectively just over a 3-page story.
Yeah,
like I like it, like, but I was like, there's a lot of like, you get to know these characters
in a
like,
short amount of time too.
Yeah, but it was like throwing me off because like the story's like I'm nearly done like the first page. There's 2 more pages left of the story. They're like, what's like? I hope this build-up's gonna matter. I don't know. It just felt like I could have used a little bit more meat and potatoes to the story to like kind of build up this amount of like character development or not even character development, but character description. Which is weird because usually like we have like paper or cardboard cutouts of characters in stories.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
In this one, like we're getting like 3D printed characters.
Yeah.
They've actually got depth to them.
Mm-hmm. Painted and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll move on to my next thing here. The reason Akiyama's mother was so messed up was because of that. But because things can't be settled so easily, it passed down to Akiyama himself as well. The resentment and grudges of those who died, they called forth something truly sinister, and it consumed him. How sad. That can't be. Then Akiyama wasn't the bad one, Kamitani said. That's cause and effect. It doesn't curse individuals. It curses blood. Those who are close. You should be careful as well. Human beings never do things that make sense. You watch that old man. Now, shall we get dinner ready? Kimura, you stay and eat something as well. Just like that, Kamitani's mother returned to the kitchen like everything was normal. So,
and
because
just like that, sorry, I'm late finish. Just like that, I finally realized what I remember the word Kimura from. It's the name of the village in Monster Hunter Rise. Is Kimura Village.
Nice.
It's been bugging me the whole time. I'm like, I know this word. I've read it somewhere. I've heard it somewhere. I don't know where. Please continue. Thank you.
Okay. Well, so I read that bit, that little like monologue from old lady Kamitani, because hey, it's anime, and I just want to throw this out here. But this particular monologue really felt like one of those monologues that a character in an anime, where they voice their philosophical opinion about a situation or even perspective on life and society in the middle of like, just like in the middle of an episode.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it a couple times, like in Dot Hack Sign, there's one about like BT, a character named BT. Her name is basically just BLT, but removed the L, and she goes into a long diatribe explaining why her name is BT and why it's connected to BLT, because she hates lettuce. And it goes on about like that kind of stuff. It's like that, like anime does this all the time, like where characters just like randomly go into like monologues about like philosophy and like the like ponderous things about life that are kind of connected to a plot, basically to sound sophisticated or to sound like really deep for some reason randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because of like it like her reaction is like, now who's ready for dinner? And like she goes off to the kitchen, and because of the scene where like she like peeks, like pokes her head between Kamitani and Kimura, and like whispers like back to them, I kind of got like, in my headcanon, this is all being like played out in the anime style of Metabots, because I could not stop visualizing old lady Kamitani as Ikki's mother from Metabots.
I don't remember Metabots. I know the name Metabots. I just can't put
It's a very simple, stylized like art, but like it's really effective. And like the mother is like so goddamn wholesome in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to throw that out there because again, it's an anime, and like this was kind of giving me some anime vibes. Just like the trope of the narration stuff.
Especially the whole, like, you're telling this deep, dark story as, like, the background's getting darker, and then all of a sudden they switch and the background's bright, and like, the eyes change and they're happy now.
Yeah, and then so she's, like, pleasant again, she's, like, back to normal, and, like, as she's, like, walking away, like, the scene, like, she walks off scene, like, passing by, and behind her, Kimura and Kamitani are at the, on, like, the couch or at the dinner table, just, like, looking at her. It's like, what the hell did she just do? Like, dude. But yeah, also, hey, narrator finally got a name.
Yeah, finally.
We took like half the story, but we got a name, Kimura. And my next one here. I mean, there are plenty of people in the world who never do anything wrong, but still get sick or meet with misfortune. But having said that, to this day, I make sure to visit my ancestors' graves and hold memorial services for them. I want to give thanks to them because it's because of them that I can live this happy life I have. Anime 2023. The year of secondhand accounts in Japanese creepypastas.
I'll bet.
Yeah, like the story, like by the time I finished the story, it's like, this is like the third or fourth story we read that we're like, the character that is telling the story has nothing to do with the actual like horror of the story.
Nothing to do with it, but at least he witnessed it.
Yes, that's true. At least he he definitely witnessed it more so than like in Goze-san's Bell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, I'm kind of, I don't know if Mikey has the same kind of like thought process on this, but like for me, like this, there was a little bit more spookiness, more because of like when we finally get the reveal of like what was behind like Akiyama's like cruelty and stuff. But it wasn't scary. That's the story. In fact, I was kind of like chill this entire time, like reading the story.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt more like a slice of life, with a little touch of like creepy tragedy or drama than anything. But yeah, that's my actual thoughts on the story.
All right. So my first note here, we already touched on this story is about her. It's like, well,
Yeah,
not really.
technically it isn't.
All right, and then the whole, I guess, curse scenario because of the grandfather.
Yeah.
So the quote here's, that boy's grandfather has killed many people over the years. So the grandfather killed a lot of people, and thus his daughter and grandson suffer.
Yeah.
The idea seems more like somebody put a curse on them, like the old witch's curse. A pox on you and your family.
Probably because he was a dick.
Yeah. Now,
Like,
honestly,
one of the people that he affected went to some shaman and put a curse on them.
that or I mean, that is also the concept of a grudge, is that it's a curse made of like misery that somebody like causes, and it comes back to bite them and their whole family.
Yeah.
Like, so it's basically like, I could kill this one guy, or I could take out an entire neighborhood with a WMD. Like, or like his action, like his inaction on something, or like his cruelty in the past marked him for this, like, or he basically activated some kind of like self-destruct that took out him, his family, his dog, half the neighborhood. Yeah. That is part of like the concept of like a grudge in Japanese folklore.
Yeah, but to put it into more, I guess, Western perspective, the sins of the father don't transfer to the son.
I thought that was the
So
opposite. Isn't it supposed to be the sins of the father do?
no,
Oh,
they don't, because this having a son or whatever is bringing an innocent life into the world. So the son is innocent whether the father is guilty or not.
true. Though I do hear
That's
that.
why.
Yeah, sorry.
That's why if a child is born in a prison, that child should be free because the child didn't commit the crime that put their parent into the prison.
Yeah. That said, I do hear that quote thrown a lot, especially along with like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, when it comes to like in horror stories and like horror narratives where like the grandfather or the father did something bad, so the child ends up getting the brunt of whatever thing has been awakened or whatever has been like unleashed.
Yeah.
I googled it.
But-
On the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it's an idiom used to say that children often suffer for the bad things their parents do.
Bam. Now, like in law, I'm sure like that's like where the thing is like
Yeah.
where like if a child is born in prison, they are excused from being from being in prison.
So it doesn't suffer the sins of the father.
Yeah. But I think like the idiom is used more often than not as a like the sins of the father. So like the sin, like what your family did or what your ancestors did comes to bite you in the ass as well, in some capacity. But yeah.
All right, continue on. So the grandfather gets his karma or whatever.
Yeah.
Later, and here are the quotes I have. After those events, Akiyama's grandfather got sick and ended up completely paralyzed. He was bedridden. Then he was infected with bed sores, which led to various other illnesses, and then finally he died. This happened just recently, so he spent the last 20 years of his life like that.
Yeah.
So that to me sounds like his grandfather had 20 years of being paralyzed and having bed sores.
Yep.
Which
Before passing away.
is some pretty intense karma, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he apparently indirectly killed many people.
Yeah.
So again, we don't know what he did. Would be nice if we got a little bit more specifics on like why exactly he indirectly hurt or killed people. Like again, was he like if his if he was like indeed the money laundering or like lender, was he like a loan shark and basically like he didn't kill the people,
yeah.
but he basically allowed for people to be killed by the mob or something like that, or to go into debt and then like commit suicide because of their grief or like because they had no other way out or kind of stuff like that. Like I imagine it's like that kind of like situation, like cruelty that he did, or like that kind of like scheme or scam that he had running. But it's not actually it's not actually like mentioned in the story specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the other actual thought, the last one I have here, is that this story is just super mundane, and the family in question has a history of mental illness, and they weren't getting the treatment that they needed.
Thanks, Kimura. I'm pretty sure Kimura straight up says it gives us that too. At the end of the story. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like it the story does leave us with like all this could be explained through mundane means, or but that being said, I still visit my ancestors' burial and respect them because hey, they gave me a better life than the Akiyamas did.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the end of my actual thoughts.
Okay. Gamer.
Okay. So for my notes, let's see. First one here is a quote. This is in regards to old lady Kamitani.
Kamitani. Sorry.
I was almost like mashing that and Kimura together.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
She was like that one adult we could freely talk to about things we couldn't tell our parents or teachers, so everyone's mother. Wonder how many of the other parents were annoyed at her for being like a better parent to everyone's kid than they are. I'm sure there's some drama going on in the background, but
Or
maybe
like
the parents also don't want to piss her off, so they're just like, it's okay, our kids are happier. You're a better mother than everyone combined, but it's fine.
Or it's like again like Icky's mother in Metabots, where she's just like so goddamn motherly and wholesome. It's like even the villains like want her to be their mom.
Wow.
And will defend her vehemently against anything.
I need to Google Metabot's mom real quick.
You should actually. It's pretty fun. It's a good show. The first season or two is pretty good.
Oh yeah, she looks like a good mom.
Yeah.
I see what you mean about the simple root style. That's good. But moving on. Regarding the term old lady Kamitani, so she's the mother of one of the kids. Wouldn't it be kind of insulting to refer to her as old lady? Like she's a mom. She's not grandmother's age, right?
Yeah. I think
it's a regional thing again.
I think it's a regional thing because like maybe I can't here. I feel like that would be very like ow my heart like to like
if I
a young mother.
Refer to your mom as old lady cultist.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get a shoe up your ass.
Yeah, up my ass, maybe.
or upside the head. You're gonna get like a sandal upside the head.
Yeah, when I first heard old lady Kamitani, like even just from the title, I imagined an old lady.
Yep,
because it says old lady.
No, 100%. Like I envisioned like a bent old like lady, just like
yeah, exactly.
like pain and everything, and then like we get the story. It's like, oh, it's the kids who would reference this probably like midlife or like maybe even like 30s, 40, like 30s or so. Well, and again, it's the Japanese like perspective, especially in anime. Like you see it most prominently in anime. Like 35. Again, I'm going back to this. 35 is considered like an old man. Like
so I'm old man yellow right now.
Yeah.
Old man called.
You're old yeller.
Oh God, I
am. No, Mikey. He's my co-host. I'll deal with him. Oh, bang. Bang.
Here's a bam hammer.
But yeah, no, like again, like Jet from Cowboy Bebop is like this old grizzled like ex cop / detective. Man's fucking 35. Spike, who's like kind of like a much like he's like probably like in like 27, like in his like late 20s, and he's like I pictured him more as like in his 30s. Yeah. And then like Faye Valentine, the like the hot female character in that show, is like barely 20, I think, or like somewhere like 22 maybe. So it's like like age and this goes across in like an anime, like not just like Cowboy Bebop, but there's other shows where it's just like, oh, that person's 40, they must be a grizzled ancient. It's like, wow, Japan.
Yeah,
your
really.
Perspective on longevity is a little skewed, at least in anime.
Life expectancy over there.
Well, and that's the thing. Like they like life expectancy. I don't think is bad in Japan.
No, of course not.
I think it's pretty high.
Yeah.
So it's just funny that like in their media, it's portrayed as like once you pass 30, you're basically an old man or an old person. But again, that's also like from a kid's perspective, that's also the same situation. Like, hell, the niece cultist, calls me old like all the time. Like, and I don't take it too bad.
You okay there?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I've not been trained by my niece.
You gotta take some medication.
Maybe.
Hip hurt.
But yeah, like I think it's just a thing that kids do, like so because like, oh, you're like 10 years older than they are or more. You're ancient.
Yeah,
because they don't have that
like
same.
That's double their lifetime.
Exactly. So yeah, like I think but it seems like these kids like he's 40 now. The grandfather suffered in paralyzed and in pain for 20 years. And I think that like it kind of insinuates that he became paralyzed shortly after the mother and Akiyama were institutionalized. So like I guess Kimura and his friend were probably like only like maybe in their mid to late teens.
It said like, what was it, early high school?
Yeah, the junior high school.
Late year of junior high.
Late year junior high. So
to be honest, I don't understand the term junior high school.
You didn't have a junior or senior high school?
Well, it's just like public school and then high school.
So junior high school, you're about 14 or 15 at the end of it. So that's like grade 9.
Yeah.
And then senior high school and like upper secondary school and stuff like that in Japan, you're 15 or 16 at grade 10 and stuff like that. So So yeah, they would have been about 15. So I guess like it's possible that like the old man Akiyama got paralyzed like 5 years later, when Kimura and Kamitani were in their hit around like their 20s, and then like cut now to it's been 20 years since then, and like Kimura is now 40 and stuff like that. So I guess that makes sense. This has been an Al Dente staple where we go way into depth on the age and like make sure things like line up time wise.
Super important.
Yeah. Vital in every story for continuity. But please continue.
Okay. My next one is basically just I like the real life ghost story being told here. How like generations down the line, someone being horrible and those who died are messing with his bloodline and all that.
Yeah.
I like how that played out. And the last one, I like how he made a promise not to tell, but then like it immediately says why the story is online when I was about to type down like why is it here then? But he immediately answers it. So I'm like, oh great.
Yeah. No, that's exactly my situation. Like that's exactly how I felt. Like I was like, all right, getting ready to put a note here is like, oh, never mind. It explains it. It's I guess that's okay.
Yeah. Kimura can also see into the future, kind of like old lady Kamitani.
Yeah.
Knew immediately that someone was going to question this, so I'm going to immediately explain myself right now.
Clearly.
But that was the end of my notes until final thoughts.
All right. Well, that's a good segue on to final thoughts. So I'm gonna it's gonna still be a partial, but it's maybe a little bit higher than I was going to have. So like just a normal like halvesies kind of partial recommendation. Because the entire time I read this, I was not scared. I was not spooked. I was in this chill malaise, like slice of life melancholy mood while reading the writing here. It almost felt like a safety bubble. Like this one's more of a philosophical or ponderous eeriness, and that's being generous, than like actual spooks or like visceral horror or anything like that. Like any safer. And this is a dream sequence that Kimura wakes up from.
Yeah.
Now, and again, like it's kind of been the year of like safe secondhand accounts of horror stories where we're not actually like the theme of the curse or a grudge brought on by someone's actions driving their relatives mad or leading to their misfortune or like even having a miserable end. That's creepy and definitely something that you find in horror manga and J-horror films and even horror themed animes. But because it doesn't affect Kimura, Kamitani, and his mother, who in this story are the narrator and major supporting cast, in any capacity other than a brief accusation of false doings from the actual victims of the curse, the Akiyamas, it just not particularly scary of a read to me. It's a bubbly of dread flavor at best for me.
A bubbly.
Yeah, like like the bubbly, like that drink that has like the dying gasp of a of a flavor.
Yeah, fair.
So that's why I'm going to partially recommend it. Like, I like the idea behind this. Like, and I found like the character descriptions fun and like actually even charming, and it was a really cool idea. It's just because of the secondhand nature of it, it wasn't spooky or really intensely creepy at all to me. So, that's why I'm partially recommending it. Mikey, these stands for evil.
Yeah, I'm gonna be parroting the same sort of stuff. It didn't seem creepy. I was waiting for the ghost story because we were told that the old lady has the best ghost stories, and we didn't get one.
Yeah, we got. I mean, she said that there was like that kid's been consumed by some kind of like demons or spirits, like nasty spirits and stuff. And technically, it's a ghost story about her because she's now dead and probably a ghost.
The ghost story isn't about her. The ghost story is about
Akiyama.
Old man Akiyama, or
Yeah.
sorry, old man Akiyama, the grandfather who was getting a bunch of people killed, and their souls have been grudging on their family line. That is the ghost story being told here.
Yeah, but then the whole thing of it, like, this story is about her, is about old lady Kamitani. It's like,
That's
it's
a
kind
lie.
of, yeah, that's completely like a
Ignore
red.
that.
That's a red
Ignore that.
flag. No, not a red flag. That's a red herring.
Just
honestly,
ignore that. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah, and then the whole thing is it's all potentially super mundane. Like,
it could be. It's most likely is, but just to be safe,
yeah.
go respect your ancestors, and thank them for not being Akiyama.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that the spookiest thing is really when the old lady's face is suddenly between the two friends.
yeah, that's definitely a jump scare.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, is that person you're always talking about? Ah, yeah, that was again. It's see, it could definitely become like a jump scare, like a fake out jump scare, or it kind of becomes comedic in like the sense of like the kids are being in the scene are scared or jump scared, but us as an audience are just laughing at the situation.
Yeah. So my opinion hasn't changed. I'm still not recommending this.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And on to Gamer.
Yeah. So for me, reading through it, honestly, I really, really like reading the story. To be honest, it starts out with telling a realistic story back from high school, and then shit gets weird. But kind of, someone that someone that everyone already trusts, that straight up, someone that everyone trusts says it's straight up ghosts that's causing it all. But like, is it really? Like, even the story does that, saying like maybe they were just unstable people and all that.
Yeah.
But the wonder of which path it really is great for me. It tickles that idiosyncratic style of magic that I seem to be way into, because that's exactly what this is.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it could
subtle.
be all ghosts and all that, and this story could be actually a factual story of stuff that actually happened to someone in real life. And there could be a spin on it where the reason that they're screwed up is because of the sins of the father and all that. And there's actually stuff going on in the background that we don't know about because we can't see ghosts. And because of that, it's all highly immersive, at least to me, and it's all believable as fact fact that the events could have actually happened, and the fact that old lady Kamitani said that it's ghosts, whether it's actually ghosts or not, I can believe that someone actually said that it's that, and all this could have happened in real life.
Yeah,
Whether
like
it actually is supernatural or not, that's hard to say. But yeah,
like it straight up says right off the hop that old lady Kamitani is great at telling ghost stories. So she could have the gift and see something that the kid that nobody else can see behind Akiyama and his nature and stuff. Or she could just have a real like dark, morbid sense of humor and just decide to like fuck with her son and his best friend by like telling them a ghost story without telling them a ghost story. Like it could be completely mundane. Like she just knew that family was trouble and has like some kind of dislike for that family specifically, other than like anybody and like nobody else, and decide like and when the topic came back up, I was like, why did you say to like leave them alone? She decided to have a little bit of fun with her son and his friend by giving them this ghost story in a different format of telling a ghost story.
mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like just like kind of like out of like just a again like why she like, and that's why like there's just it's not that she like was in all seriousness and then like, all right, let's have dinner. Like that kind of almost came off as like she was telling the ghost story, like a creepy horror thing. She was in her like her theatrics, and then as a like kind of as a send off, she's like she has that moment where she snaps out of that mode to, all right, let's have dinner. So what, you're gonna stay for dinner, right? Like, and then walks away. Like mic drop.
Pretty much
her
yeah.
her finest performance ever.
A little bit.
Like it could all be mundane, like super mundane, and she's just a little twisted, like in terms of her sensibilities or her sense of humor.
But it also could not. The reason that she tells such good ghost stories might be because she can perceive ghosts, and
exactly,
she gets it better than most other people.
Yeah, she could. That's what I'm trying to say here. Is like it could be super mundane, like explainable, like through like explained away, or there is something more subtle in the supernatural going on here. Like you're bringing up. So
yeah, and whether it's one side or the other, personally, I like both of them because it feels immersive one way or another. There's no huge like nothing really happened that made me trip up in this story. Well, the one I tripped up in the one spot, but it's fine.
The entire like naming convention thing, that kind of
aside from that, yeah, it wasn't.
It's a small thing, really. It's like not like it's the entire story.
It's not like I had to like explain it for a solid 5 minutes or nothing. It's fine, but yeah, there was a little hiccup, but it didn't really it didn't really ruin my enjoyment of the story, honestly, just because I like what was here and I still recommend it.
Oh, that's fair. So I suppose 1.5 out of 3 recommendations. And if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, whether it gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're all on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W at the end, because his name is very long.
It is.
And I'm at Review Cultist. If you'd like to help support our show, hang on. If you'd like to get a hold of us or like send us emails, you can go to aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. We're going to also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, super things, super spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tiers with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors and translators of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, where you post these online, somewhere on a Japanese forum or 2chan, and then Kowabana comes around and decides to translate them and share them with the Western audience, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been the last episode of Anime 2023 for Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sayonara and sleep well.